What exactly does it mean to be a NASCAR open car? Plus, it's been 1 week since Joey Logano won the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. How do we all feel about it? Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. It is the first weekend of the NASCAR offseason, which means we don't have any actual racing to talk about. So we're going to get into a couple things that have kind of been on the back burner in the comments in this video. But next week, we're going to have some more announcements. Dale Jr. is getting back in the 8 car next weekend. There's going to be some other races that we talk about, throughout the offseason. And I've got some pretty fun content ideas, at least I think so, going forward to sort of fill the void until we get back to Daytona, which is in 91 days time from now before the Daytona 500. Less than that to get to the Clash on February 2nd at Bowman Gray Stadium. Excited for all of that. But one question I keep seeing, especially in the TikTok comments, not so much in the YouTube, comments on the saying that, YouTube might be more educated than the TikTok side. I think maybe just more casual see the TikTok side of things. But one of the biggest questions I keep getting over the last week, especially with the topic of 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports, is what is an open car in NASCAR? And it's a fair question. It's a valid question, especially for a lot of newer fans that aren't entirely sure how the chartered system works, what an open car is, stuff like that. So just brief overview real quick. Obviously, NASCAR typically has 36 chartered cars. A charter gives you a guaranteed starting spot in every race and an increased monetary payout from the sport. That's what a charter is. That's why teams spend $20 to $40 million to acquire a charter, because they can turn to their sponsor and be like, we're guaranteed to have a starting spot in all these races. You're guaranteed the X amount of exposure, and we're going to get this higher payout from the TV revenue and everything else. So typically there's 36 of those. Next year in 2025, there's only going to be 32 tentatively as it stands now, because 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports will not compete as chartered teams. They will instead compete as open cars. So what is an open car? Well, an open car is an entry that does not have a charter. It is not guaranteed a starting spot. It will not get the same amount of monetary payout, and they have to qualify on speed for every race. Typically, with 36 charters, there's only 4 open spots. NASCAR caps the field at 40 cars, went from 43 to 40 cars back in 2016 with the introduction of the charter system. Next year, we are only going to have 32 charter teams. So that means there's going to be 8 open spots, which works really well in the favor of 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports in terms of qualifying for the race. Now, a bigger question I think we keep getting as well is, what are the chances that they miss a race? Well, there's always that chance, right? If 9 open cars show up, and there's only 8 spots, somebody's going home. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Not in races outside of, Daytona 500, maybe a Talladega race, maybe a road course. We see some, teams throw in an extra entry at road courses at times. But for the most part, those 8 open spots and the 4 cars that will be racing as open cars that we know of currently, they should be fine, all things considered. When it comes to the topic of the Daytona 500, could we see one of them miss the Daytona 500? Yeah, we could, in theory, see one of them miss the Daytona 500. If, Dale Earnhardt willing, it doesn't rain for an entire week straight down in Daytona, and say it did. Say it rains out Daytona 500 qualifying. Say it rains out the duels. Say it rains on Friday. You can't do anything. Rains on Saturday, but it's good on Sunday, and we want to start the race and run the Daytona 500. How do they set it up? Well, they go by the 2024 points. So those cars would still be in based on their points finishes from the year prior. Now, the problem for them is, let's say 44 cars show up for the Daytona 500. Well, that means 4 cars are going home. And now these 2 cars from FRM, the 2 cars from 2311 Racing, are going to have to qualify on speed, and they're going to have to race their way into the Daytona 500 in the duels. That's where things get interesting. Yeah, one of them could absolutely miss the race. Is it going to happen? I don't envision it. I think those 4 cars, especially the FRM cars, are quick enough to, one, lock in on speed, if not, be fine in the duel as well. Same thing with 2311 Racing. Both of their drivers, they might not have the speed in qualifying. They will absolutely have the drivability and speed in the duel to put themselves in position to advance. So I don't envision seeing them miss too many races. The one thing about an open car is you don't have to go to every race if you don't want to. If you want to contend for the championship, you do. But if you don't have championship aspirations, then you can pick and choose. Where with a chartered car, you have to go to every race if you want to remain championship eligible. And part of the charter agreement is that you show up for every race and the 2 exhibition races as well. So 2311 Racing, Front Row Motorsports, they don't have to show up to the Clash if they don't want to. They don't have to show up to the All-Star race if they don't want to. If they don't want to race for a championship, they don't have to go out to Sonoma in the summertime or, Phoenix, Las Vegas. any of those races that are far. They don't have to go down to Mexico if they don't want to either. I fully expect them to compete for a championship and have their cars there. They have sponsors that very much want to be in every race and want to contend for a championship. So I don't envision them missing any races, but the opportunity is on the table. So yeah, that's what an open car is. You're not guaranteed a starting spot. You're not guaranteed a monetary payout like the other charter cars are. Now we'll have to wait and see how this lawsuit progresses. Obviously, they said this past weekend on Saturday that they will race as open cars in 2025 as their lawsuit progresses. They, of course, still have an appeal for their injunction that was denied the first time. Their appeal, if they get the expedited process, could be heard December 10th through the 13th. If it's not, given that expedited process, it will be at the earliest March 18th, which is a month into the season and something that the teams would like to avoid. But if they do have to deal with that, then obviously they will continue to race as open cars for now. All right, to quote the Bare Naked Ladies, it's been 1 week since Joey Logano won the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. I'm not a singer at all. I apologize to anybody whose ears hurt from that. But it's been 1 week since Joey Logano won the championship. And how are people feeling? Has the outrage died down? Have people come to terms with this? Have they accepted Joey Logano as their champion? Will they protest it? No, I think most people have come to the realization that Joey Logano is the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion. They might not be happy about it, though. I think there's been so much talk about the format, including NASCAR even saying that they're open to tweaking the format. Any big overhauls will likely wait until 2026, according to Sports Business Journal. But when I look at it and I sit back and look at Logano's championship, yeah, does the guy with an average finish of 17 really scream champion? No, not really. But when you look at the format, he did exactly what this format rewards, which is winning. And that's what he did. He won once in the regular season, a wild 5 overtime race that was completely drunk in Nashville. Gets into the playoffs. He wins in Atlanta, goes into the second round. Alex Bowman is underweight, gets disqualified, moves Logano back into, the championship, moves into the round of 8 from there. Sorry, got to the round of 12. Then he moves into the round of 8. Wins in Las Vegas, goes on to the championship race, wins there. This is what the format was set up to reward, winning. And that's what Joey Logano did. So when you look at it by the current format, he did exactly what he needed to do. And I don't have a problem with that. Now, you can sit back and be like, well, if this was a 36 race championship, he wouldn't have won. Completely agree with you. But unfortunately, that's not how we decide a champion. If this was a 10 race chase format like we used to have, he doesn't win the championship. I agree. But again, this is not the format that we're operating under. We're operating underneath this elimination style. So when NASCAR talks about tweaking it, I think everybody's throwing out ideas. I threw out an idea back in October. I saw Eric Estep essentially had the same idea as well, which is to take your 16 cars, you have one wild card race, you eliminate 4 drivers from that. Then you have your round of 12, which is 3 races, eliminate 4, your round of 8, which is 3 races, you eliminate 4. Then you have a championship 3-race round with your 4 drivers. Whoever has the most points at the end of that wins. I like that format. I can get behind that format. NASCAR wants the elimination rounds because it creates drama and it creates storylines. 100% understand that. But having just one winner-take-all race at Phoenix isn't working because Team Penske's got it really figured out. And when they get there, they're probably going to win. I would like to see more diversity to determine our champion in that final round. I understand the one race winner-take-all. I get it. But it hasn't produced any, incredible moments up to now. So I think a 3-race championship round might be better, and it helps create storylines heading into that final championship race. And somebody was like, well, a guy could win it with a race to go. Okay, if something crazy like that happens, then so be it. Matt Crafton won the 2019 Truck Championship in the elimination style format, which rewards winning without ever winning a race the entire season. Sometimes weird things happen. I mean, Ryan Newman almost did it in 2014. So I'm fine. I'm fine with weird things like that happening. If you're just that consistent or that good, okay, that's fine with me. Weird things happen. Totally cool with it. So I'm interested to see what other people think. Denny Hamlin threw out a championship idea, which is to double the regular season points, take your top 16, have 7 race round to open it, and then you take the top 4 drivers and points for a final round of 3 races. Whoever has the most points at the end of that wins, and their points are reset to 0 for that championship round. All right, I can get behind that idea as well. Steve Letart's idea of just having race-winning drivers in the regular season in the playoffs, I don't like that idea at all because you're you're penalizing people that are running that could possibly be running really, really well. What was it? Martin Truex Jr. finished second in the points or third in the points in the regular season and got bounced out. I hated that because he deserved to be in there. He's that fast. Yeah, it sucks that he didn't win, but you can't argue that he's not one of the best drivers and one of the best cars on the racetrack. So I don't really love the idea of that. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the teams racing as open cars, as well as the championship format. Are you fine with how it is? Do you want to see tweaks made to it? I obviously know everybody wants to see tweaks made to it. The playoff format is a very controversial topic, but let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok @BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook @BreakHardBlog.